I'll pay you $5,000 to be my girlfriend for one night. The billionaire's words hung in the air like a grenade with the pin already pulled. Lily Carter stared at Damian Cross, certain she'd misheard, but his steel gray eyes were dead serious. This was the same man who barely acknowledged her existence for 3 years, now offering her more money than she'd seen in 6 months just to pretend they were in love. She should have said no. Should have walked away from the insanity. But her mother's medical bills were drowning her, and desperation makes people do stupid things. If you want to see how one lie became the most dangerous truth 2 broken people ever shared, stick with me until the end. Hit that like button and drop a comment with your city. I want to see how far this story travels. The envelope arrived on a Tuesday. Damian Cross stood in his office on the 42nd floor, Manhattan glittering below him like scattered diamonds, and stared at the cream-colored paper in his hand. Expensive, textured, the kind of stationery that screamed old money and careful breeding. Mr. Damian Cross and guest are cordially invited to celebrate the marriage of Victoria Ann Harrington to Jonathan Edward Pemberton III. He read it 3 times before the words actually registered. Then he threw it across the room. "Son of a bitch," he muttered. His assistant, Marcus, poked his head through the door. "Everything okay, boss?" "Fine." Damian's jaw was tight enough to crack teeth. "Just fine." Marcus knew better than to push. The door clicked shut, leaving Damian alone with his anger and that goddamn invitation mocking him from the floor. Victoria Harrington, his ex-fiancée. The woman who'd left him 5 years ago when his company crashed and burned, when the media called him a failure, when he lost everything except his 3-year-old son and his pride. She'd walked out without a backward glance, taking her trust fund and her Upper East Side friends with her. "I can't be with someone who has nothing," she'd said, her voice cold as January. "I have a reputation to maintain." Now she was marrying Jonathan Pemberton III, old money, yacht clubs, the kind of guy who'd never worked a real day in his life. And she wanted Damian there to watch. Wanted him to see her in white, marrying up, proving she'd made the right choice when she left him in the dirt. Damian walked to the window and pressed his forehead against the cool glass. He'd rebuilt everything, clawed his way back from bankruptcy, worked 100-hour weeks, made deals that would have broken lesser men. His company was worth $1.3 billion now. He had houses in 3 countries, cars that cost more than most people's homes, power that made politicians return his calls within the hour. He'd won. But Victoria didn't know that. She'd sent this invitation to the address of his old apartment, the one he'd lived in during the dark years, cramped and cheap and humiliating. She thought he was still that broken man she'd left behind, and Damian would rather die than let her see him walk into that wedding alone. "Problem is," he said to his empty office, "I don't have a girlfriend." Dating required time he didn't have, and trust he'd lost the ability to give. After Victoria, he'd built walls so high that even his son complained about them. "You're always working, Dad. You're never really here." 8-year-old Samuel wasn't wrong. Damian had become exactly what he'd sworn he wouldn't. A man who measured worth in dollars and power, who kept everyone at arm's length, who'd forgotten how to be human somewhere between the bankruptcy and the billions. He picked up the invitation from where it had landed near his desk. 2 weeks. He had 2 weeks to find someone willing to pretend to be in love with him in front of 200 guests, his ex-fiancée and the entirety of New York's social elite. "This is insane," he told himself. But he'd done more insane things. He'd bet his last $20,000 on a business deal that everyone said would fail. He'd worked through nights when his son was crying in the next room, when his electricity got shut off, when he wanted to give up so badly he could taste it. This was just another problem to solve. He pressed the intercom. "Marcus, get me a list of escort services." Silence. Then, "Sir?" "You heard me." "Boss, you know those aren't exactly discreet." Damian closed his eyes. Marcus was right. Hiring an escort would leak to the press within hours. The headlines would write themselves, "Billionaire single father can't find real date, rents one instead." Victoria would love that. "Forget it," Damian said. He sat down at his desk and tried to focus on work. Quarterly reports, merger proposals. The kind of problems that had clear solutions and didn't involve his ex-fiancée's smug face. But his mind kept drifting. He needed someone real. Someone who could pull off being his girlfriend without making it obvious she'd been paid. Someone who could handle the pressure of a high society wedding, the questions, the scrutiny. Someone who didn't actually want anything from him. The last part was important. Damien had learned the hard way that everyone wanted something: money, connections, status. Even the women who claimed they didn't care about his wealth would eventually show their true colors. It always ended the same way. Better to make it transactional from the start. At least then everyone knew where they stood. His phone buzzed. Samuel's school. "Mr. Cross, this is Principal Morrison. Samuel got into a fight today." Damien's stomach dropped. "Is he hurt?" "No, but the other boy has a bloody nose. We need you to come in." "I'll be there in 20 minutes." He grabbed his jacket and headed for the elevator, his mind already racing. Samuel had been getting into fights more frequently lately, acting out. The school counselor said it was normal for kids whose parents were emotionally unavailable. More guilt to add to the pile. The drive to Samuel's private school took 15 minutes in traffic. Damien found his son sitting outside the principal's office, knuckles red, eyes defiant. "What happened?" Damien asked quietly. "Tyler said you didn't care about me, that you only care about money." Samuel's voice cracked. "So I hit him." Damien felt something break inside his chest. He crouched down to his son's level. "Sam, it's not true, right? You care about me. You're busy. That's what Lily says." "Lily? She works at the house. She's nice. She makes cookies sometimes and doesn't yell when I spill things." Damien realized with crushing shame that he barely knew the woman who worked in his home. He'd hired her 3 years ago through an agency, housekeeping, cooking, light errands. She was efficient and quiet, and that was all he'd bothered to notice. He didn't even know her last name. "I care about you more than anything," Damien said, gripping Samuel's shoulders. "More than all the money in the world. You know that, right?" Samuel nodded, but his eyes said he wasn't sure. The meeting with the principal was brutal. Damien apologized, promised it wouldn't happen again, wrote a check for the other boy's family even though they didn't ask for one. By the time they got home, it was past 7. The mansion was quiet when they entered. Warm light spilled from the kitchen, and the smell of something baking hung in the air. Lily appeared in the hallway, wiping flour from her hands onto her apron. "Oh, Mr. Cross, I didn't expect you home so early. I made dinner if you're hungry. Samuel, sweetie, are you okay?" She'd noticed his red knuckles immediately. There was genuine concern in her voice. "I'm fine," Samuel mumbled. "I'm going to go upstairs." He disappeared before Damien could stop him. "Rough day," Damien said. Lily nodded. "He's been having a lot of those lately." "You seem to know my son better than I do." It came out harsher than he intended. Lily flinched slightly, then straightened her spine. "I spend time with him," she said simply. "He's a good kid, just lonely." The words hit like a slap. Damien wanted to argue, to defend himself, but she was right. He'd been so focused on building his empire that he'd forgotten to build a relationship with his own son. "I should go," Lily said. "Dinner's in the oven. Just needs 20 more minutes." "Wait." She paused, looking at him with those calm brown eyes that seemed to see too much. Damien didn't know what made him say it. Maybe it was the stress from the invitation. Maybe it was watching his son defend his honor with bloody knuckles. Maybe it was the realization that he'd been living in his own house like a ghost, disconnected from everything real. "What's your name?" he asked. Lily blinked. "What?" "Your full name. I just realized I don't know it." A dozen emotions crossed her face: surprise, hurt, resignation. Lily Carter, he repeated. "How long have you worked here?" 3 years, 1 month, 2 weeks. The precision of her answer told him she'd been counting. He didn't know why that bothered him. "And I've never once asked you about yourself." "You've been busy, Mr. Cross." "Damien? Call me Damien." He ran a hand through his hair. "Look, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I need to ask you something. And before I do, I want you to know you can say no. Your job won't be affected either way." Lily's expression became guarded. "Okay. How would you like to make $5,000 for 1 night of work?" Her eyes widened. "Excuse me?" "Excuse. Nothing inappropriate," he added quickly. "I need someone to pretend to be my girlfriend at a wedding, that's all. Show up, smile, act like you like me. 6 hours, maximum." Lily stared at him like he'd grown a second head. "Are you serious?" "Completely." "Why me?" Good question. Damien hadn't planned this. The words had just fallen out of his mouth, but now that they were out there, it actually made sense. Because you don't want anything from me, he said. You've worked here for 3 years and never asked for a raise, never tried to get my attention, never played games. You're just present, doing your job. That's rare. So you want to pay me to keep doing that, just in a fancier location? Essentially, yes. Lily crossed her arms. What's the catch? No catch. My ex-fiancée is getting married. She invited me to watch, probably expecting me to show up alone and miserable. I'd rather not give her the satisfaction. That's petty. Extremely. A ghost of a smile crossed Lily's face. Then it disappeared. I don't know, Mr. Cross. Damien. Damien. She said his name carefully, like she was testing how it felt. $5,000 is a lot of money. What exactly would I have to do? Show up. Wear something nice. Let me introduce you as my girlfriend. Make small talk. Leave when it's over. That's it? That's it? Lily bit her lip, and Damien found himself noticing details he'd never paid attention to before. The way her dark hair fell across her shoulders, the faint scar on her chin, the calluses on her hands from years of hard work. She wasn't glamorous, wasn't the kind of woman who'd normally walk into a high society wedding on his arm. But there was something genuine about her, something real that had been missing from his life for a very long time. Can I think about it? She asked. Take your time. The wedding's in 2 weeks. Lily nodded slowly. Okay, I'll let you know tomorrow. She left, and Damien stood in the hallway wondering what the hell he'd just done. Chintz. Lily didn't sleep that night. $5,000. The number kept spinning through her head like a slot machine. $5,000 could pay 3 months of her mother's medical bills, could fix the leak in her apartment ceiling that the landlord kept ignoring, could put her sister through another semester of community college. $5,000 for 6 hours of pretending. It was insane. It was dangerous. It was probably a terrible idea. But she needed the money so badly she could taste it. Lily Carter had been poor her entire life. Not the kind of poverty that made headlines, but the grinding, exhausting kind that meant choosing between electricity and groceries, that meant wearing the same 3 outfits to work and praying they didn't fall apart. That meant watching her mother get sicker while the hospital bills piled higher. She'd been working since she was 15, waitressing, cleaning houses, taking any job that paid cash and didn't ask too many questions. The position at Damien Cross's mansion was the best job she'd ever had. Steady pay, reasonable hours, and a boss who barely noticed she existed. That last part had been a relief, honestly. After the disaster with her ex-boyfriend, Lily had sworn off men entirely, especially rich men, especially men who looked at her like she was something they could use and discard. But Damien wasn't looking at her like that. He'd been almost apologetic, like he knew the offer was weird and was giving her an out. Your job won't be affected either way. She believed him. In 3 years, he'd never been anything but professional. Cold, yes. Distant, definitely. But never inappropriate, never cruel. Her phone buzzed. A text from her sister, Maya. Mom's back in the ER. Same thing. I'm with her now. Don't worry. Don't worry. As if that were possible. Lily grabbed her jacket and headed for the bus stop. The night was cold, and the bus was 40 minutes late, and by the time she got to the hospital, her mother was already back in a room, hooked up to machines that beeped and whirred. Baby, you didn't have to come, her mother said, but her hand reached for Lily's immediately. Of course I came. Maya sat in the corner, looking exhausted. She was 22 and already had the eyes of someone much older. Struggling through college while working 2 jobs will do that. They're going to keep her overnight for observation, Maya said quietly. The doctor says she needs to see a specialist. The good news is, it's probably not cancer. The bad news is, the specialist costs $3,000, and insurance won't cover it. Lily felt the weight of the world settle on her shoulders. $3,000. They didn't have $3,000? They barely had $300. We'll figure it out, Lily said, even though she had no idea how. She stayed until her mother fell asleep, then took the bus back to her apartment. It was nearly 2 in the morning when she finally collapsed into bed. $5,000. The offer sat in her mind like a lifeline, like salvation wrapped in a silk ribbon. It was just one night, just a few hours of pretending to be someone she wasn't. She'd been doing that her whole life anyway, pretending she wasn't exhausted, pretending she wasn't scared, pretending everything was fine when it absolutely wasn't. This time, at least, she'd get paid for it. Basic. The next morning, Lily found Damien in his office. I'll do it, she said before she could change her mind. He looked up from his laptop. You're sure? I'm sure. But I have conditions. Something that might have been respect flickered in his eyes. Let's hear them. First, half the money up front. Second, you tell me everything I need to know about this ex-fiancé and this wedding. I'm not walking in blind. Third, if anyone asks personal questions I'm not comfortable answering, I get to deflect without you getting upset. And fourth, she hesitated. This doesn't change anything about my job. After that night, we go back to normal. Deal, Damien said immediately. I'll have the contract drawn up by this afternoon. Contract? I want everything in writing. Protects both of us. That was fair. Lily nodded. There's one more thing, Damien said. We need to get you some clothes. What's wrong with my clothes? Nothing, but this is a high society wedding. Black tie. You'll need a dress, shoes, the works. I'll cover all of it. Not part of the 5,000. Separate expense. Lily felt her cheeks burn. I don't need charity. It's not charity. It's a work uniform. Would you show up to a construction site without a hard hat? Put that way, it made sense. But it still felt wrong, letting him buy her things. Fine, she said. But nothing crazy expensive. Damien's smile was small but genuine. I make no promises. Mishak. The shopping trip happened 3 days later. Damien insisted on coming along, which Lily thought was weird until she realized he had opinions about everything. Not in a controlling way, he genuinely seemed to want her input, but he definitely had thoughts about colors and styles and designers she'd never heard of. They went to a boutique in Midtown that didn't have prices on anything, which meant Lily couldn't afford to breathe in there. Relax, Damien said, noticing her tension. Everything's taken care of. A saleswoman descended on them immediately. Mr. Cross, so wonderful to see you again. And who is this lovely lady? This is Lily, Damien said. She needs a dress for a wedding, something elegant but not over the top. She's got great bone structure. Let's show that off. Lily shot him a look. Great bone structure? He shrugged. It's true. The saleswoman pulled out dress after dress. Red silk, black satin, silver sequins that made Lily look like a disco ball. She tried them all on dutifully, feeling more ridiculous with each one. Then the saleswoman brought out an emerald green dress. This just came in, she said. It's a Valentino, simple cut, but the color is stunning. Lily took it into the fitting room, certain it would look as wrong as everything else. It didn't. The dress hugged her curves without being tight, fell to just above her knees, and somehow made her skin look luminous. The color brought out the gold flecks in her brown eyes that she'd never noticed before. She stepped out of the fitting room and Damien went very still. That's the one, he said quietly. You haven't even seen the others. That's the one, he repeated. There was something in his voice that made Lily's pulse quicken. Something that had nothing to do with fake relationships and everything to do with the way he was looking at her, like he was seeing her for the first time. Okay, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. This one. They got shoes. A clutch. Simple jewelry that probably cost more than her rent. Damien paid for everything without blinking. On the drive back to the mansion, Lily stared out the window. You didn't have to do all this, she said. I know. So why did you? Damien was quiet for a long moment. Because you deserve nice things, Lily Carter. And because I've been taking you for granted for 3 years. This is me trying to make up for that. Something warm unfurled in Lily's chest. Something dangerous. It's just business, she reminded herself as much as him. After the wedding, everything goes back to normal. Right, Damien said, back to normal. But neither of them sounded convinced. Back. The week before the wedding was chaos. Damien insisted they practice. We need to look comfortable together, he explained. If we're stiff and awkward, everyone will know something's off. So they had dinners together, watched movies in the mansion's theater, took walks in Central Park with Samuel, who seemed delighted that his dad was actually home for once. Are you Dad's girlfriend now? Samuel asked Lily one afternoon. It's complicated, Lily said. That's what adults say when the answer is yes, but they don't want to admit it. Smart kid. Damien taught her about his world, the names she needed to know, the social dynamics, the unspoken rules of high society. Lily taught him about hers, what it was like to count pennies, to worry about rent, to make choices between things that both mattered. They learned each other's tells. Damien ran his hand through his hair when he was stressed. Lily bit her lower lip when she was nervous. And somewhere in the middle of all that practicing, something shifted. Lily started noticing things, the way Damien's eyes crinkled when he really laughed. How he was patient with Samuel in a way that suggested he was trying to be better, trying to fix what he knew was broken. The moments when his carefully constructed walls came down, and she could see the lonely man underneath. He wasn't just a billionaire, he was a single father who'd been abandoned when he needed someone most. A man who'd rebuilt himself from nothing and was still terrified of being vulnerable again. She understood that. She'd built her own walls too. "Tell me about Victoria," Lily said one night. They were in his study going over the guest list. Damien's jaw tightened. "We met in college. She was beautiful, sophisticated, came from money. I thought I loved her." He paused. "Maybe I did, for a while. But when my company failed and I lost everything, she left. Didn't even hesitate. Just packed her bags and walked out. I'm sorry." "Don't be. She did me a favor. Showed me that love is just another transaction for people like her. Everyone wants something." "Not everyone," Lily said quietly. Damien looked at her. "No?" "No." The air between them felt charged, electric. "What about you?" Damien asked. "Ever been in love?" Lily thought about her ex, the man who'd seemed perfect until he wasn't, who'd borrowed money and never paid it back, who'd made promises he had no intention of keeping. Once, it ended badly. Most things do. They sat in comfortable silence, and Lily realized with a start that she was enjoying this, enjoying his company, enjoying the way he listened when she talked, the way he remembered small details, the way he looked at her like she mattered. That was dangerous. This was a job, a transaction. When the wedding was over, they'd go back to being employer and employee. He'd stop noticing her, stop caring, stop looking at her like she was someone worth knowing. The money would be nice, but losing this, whatever this was going to hurt. "We should practice dancing," Damien said suddenly. "What?" "There will be dancing at the wedding. We should look like we've done it before." He stood and held out his hand. Lily took it, and he pulled her close. There was no music, but it didn't matter. He led her around the study in a slow waltz, one hand on her waist, the other holding hers gently. "You're good at this," Lily said. "Cotillion classes, my mother insisted." "Rich people problems? You have no idea." But he was smiling, and so was she. They moved together in the quiet study, and Lily felt something crack open inside her chest, something she'd kept locked away for years because it was safer that way. Hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, this could be more than a transaction. Damien's thumb brushed against her waist, and she shivered. "Cold?" he asked. "No." Their eyes met. Held. "Lily..." "Dad! Lily! Come look!" Samuel's voice shattered the moment. They stepped apart quickly, and Lily told herself the regret she felt was imaginary. Samuel had built an elaborate Lego castle in the living room and needed to show it off immediately. They spent the next hour admiring his work, and if Damien's hand occasionally brushed against Lily's, well, that was probably accidental. Probably. The night before the wedding, Lily couldn't sleep. She lay in her tiny apartment, staring at the ceiling, trying to calm the storm in her chest. Tomorrow she'd put on that emerald dress and walk into a world she didn't belong in. She'd pretend to be Damien Cross's girlfriend in front of hundreds of people who'd see right through her. She'd smile and laugh and play a role, and then it would be over. And she'd go back to being invisible. Her phone buzzed. A text from Damien. "You still awake?" "Yeah." Nervous. "Don't be. You're going to be amazing." "How do you know?" "Because you're real, Lily. That's rarer than you think." She stared at the message for a long time. "Damien?" "Yeah? What if this is a mistake?" The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Then we'll make it together." Lily smiled in the darkness of her apartment. Tomorrow she'd be someone else. Someone confident and elegant and worthy of walking beside a billionaire. But tonight, she was just Lily Carter, a woman who was maybe, possibly, definitely falling for a man she had no business falling for. And that scared her more than any wedding ever could. The car arrived at 9 in the morning. Lily had been awake since 5, her stomach twisted in knots so tight she couldn't eat breakfast. She'd done her makeup 3 times, wiping it off each time because it looked wrong. Too much. Not enough. Different. By the time the driver knocked on her apartment door, she'd settled on something simple. Mascara, a bit of blush, lip gloss that tasted like vanilla. The emerald dress hung on the back of her bathroom door, wrapped in plastic like something precious. Which it was, she supposed. More precious than anything she'd ever owned. Her phone buzzed. Damien. Driver's outside. Take your time. Take your time. Easy for him to say. He'd been born into this world, raised in it. She was just visiting, and visitors always got caught eventually. Lily put on the dress with shaking hands, zipped it up, slipped on the heels that made her 3 inches taller and made walking feel like a trust exercise. She looked at herself in the mirror. The woman staring back was a stranger, someone polished and elegant, someone who belonged in ballrooms and expensive cars, someone who could walk beside Damien Cross without looking like a mistake. But underneath the dress and the makeup, she was still just Lily, still poor, still scared, still completely out of her depth. You can do this, she told her reflection. 6 hours. Just 6 hours. The ride to Damien's mansion took 40 minutes in Saturday morning traffic. Lily spent the entire drive trying to remember how to breathe normally. Damien was waiting in the foyer when she arrived. He wore a tuxedo that probably cost more than her car, if she'd had a car, and his hair was styled perfectly. But what struck her was the look on his face when he saw her. He stared, just flat out stared, his lips parting slightly, his eyes widening. Is it wrong? Lily asked, suddenly panicked. The dress, is it too much? Not enough? I can change. You look beautiful, Damien said quietly. Really beautiful. Heat flooded Lily's cheeks. Oh, thanks. You too. Handsome. You look handsome. Smooth. Real smooth. But Damien smiled and some of the tension in Lily's chest loosened. Samuel appeared on the stairs, already in his pajamas, even though it was mid-morning. Whoa. Lily, you look like a princess. Just for today, Lily said. Tomorrow, I turn back into a pumpkin. That's not how the story goes. Close enough. Damien's driver opened the car door and suddenly it was real. This was happening. In an hour, she'd be walking into Victoria Harrington's wedding on the arm of a billionaire, pretending to be someone she wasn't. The drive into Manhattan was quiet. Damien kept glancing at her, then looking away, like he wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. Finally, Lily broke the silence. Tell me about her. Victoria? Yeah, what was she like before everything went bad? Damien was quiet for a long moment. She was confident, knew exactly what she wanted and how to get it. I found that attractive at the time, thought it meant she was strong. And now? Now I think there's a difference between confidence and cruelty. He paused. She used to laugh at people. Not with them. At them. I told myself it was just her sense of humor, that she didn't mean it. But she did. Why'd you stay with her? Because I thought I was supposed to want someone like her. Beautiful, connected, polished. My mother approved. My business partners approved. It made sense on paper. Love doesn't happen on paper, Lily said quietly. No, it doesn't. Their eyes met, and Lily felt that spark again. The one that had been building all week, getting stronger every time they practiced dancing, every time they shared a meal, every time Damien looked at her like she mattered. Stop it, she told herself. This isn't real. Don't forget that. The venue was a historical estate in the Hamptons, all manicured gardens and old money architecture. Cars lined the circular driveway, each one more expensive than the last. People in designer clothes climbed the marble steps, air-kissing and laughing. Lily's stomach churned. I can't do this, she whispered. Damien took her hand. His palm was warm, steady. Yes, you can. They're going to know I don't belong here. You belong anywhere I say you belong. And right now, you belong with me. It should have sounded arrogant. Instead, it sounded like a promise. The driver opened their door. Damien stepped out first, then offered Lily his hand. She took it, praying she wouldn't trip in these ridiculous heels. They walked up the steps together, and Lily felt eyes on them immediately. Whispers rippled through the crowd like wind through grass. Who is that? I've never seen her before. Is that Damien Cross? I thought he was... He rebuilt everything, made it all back and then some. But who's the girl? Lily kept her chin up, kept her hand in Damien's, kept breathing, in and out, one step at a time. Inside, the estate was even more overwhelming. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, flowers everywhere that probably cost more than Lily made in a month. Waiters circulated with champagne and hors d'oeuvres that looked like tiny works of art. Damien Cross, as I live and breathe. A man in his 50s approached, hand extended. Damien shook it smoothly. Charles, good to see you. And who is this lovely creature? Lily bristled at being called a creature, but she forced a smile. This is Lily Carter, Damien said. My girlfriend. The word felt strange in the air. Foreign, like trying on someone else's clothes. Charming, Charles said, though his eyes said he was already calculating her net worth and finding it lacking. How did you two meet? Through work, Damien said easily. Lily's been keeping my life organized for years. Took me far too long to realize what was right in front of me. The lie was smooth as silk. If Lily hadn't known better, she would have believed it herself. They moved through the crowd, Damien introducing her to people whose names she immediately forgot. Everyone was polite, but Lily could feel their judgment. See it in the way their eyes traveled over her dress, her shoes, her simple jewelry. She didn't belong here. They knew it. She knew it. But Damien's hand never left hers. You're doing great, he murmured during a lull in conversation. I haven't said anything. Exactly. Let them wonder. Mystery is powerful. Before Lily could respond, a voice cut through the crowd like a knife. Damien! Oh my goodness! You actually came! Victoria Harrington glided toward them in a wedding dress that probably cost more than Lily's entire life. She was beautiful in that carefully constructed way. Perfect blonde hair, perfect makeup, perfect teeth. Everything about her screamed money and breeding, and the look she gave Damien was pure triumph. Victoria, Damien said coolly. Congratulations. Thank you. Victoria's eyes slid to Lily and something flickered in them. Surprise? Jealousy? And who is this? Lily Carter, my girlfriend. Victoria's smile didn't waver, but Lily saw her fingers tighten on her bouquet. How unexpected. I didn't know you were seeing anyone. It's recent, Damien said. Well? Victoria's eyes raked over Lily, assessing, judging. Aren't you just darling? That dress is lovely. Off the rack? It was a trap. Lily knew it immediately. If she said yes, she'd confirm she was poor. If she said no, Victoria would ask where it was from, and the answer would mark her as someone trying too hard. Valentino, Lily said simply. Recent collection. Victoria's eyebrow raised a fraction. Good for you. I'm so glad Damien is happy. The pause before happy was deliberate, pointed. Damien's jaw tightened. I am very happy. He pulled Lily closer, his arm sliding around her waist. The gesture was possessive, protective, and sent heat flooding through Lily's body. How sweet, Victoria cooed. Well, I should circulate. But let's catch up later, Damien. I'm dying to hear what you've been up to. I heard you had some financial troubles a few years back. I do hope things have improved. She floated away before Damien could respond, leaving ice in her wake. I'm sorry, Damien said quietly. She's a piece of work? Lily finished. Yeah, I got that. You handled that perfectly. I wanted to punch her. Damien laughed, and the sound was genuine. Me too. They found their seats for the ceremony, front row, because of course Victoria wanted Damien to have a perfect view of what he'd lost. The irony was that he'd lost nothing. He'd dodged a bullet wrapped in Vera Wang. The ceremony was everything Lily expected. Long, pretentious, with readings about love from people who probably didn't believe in it. Victoria cried perfectly on cue, and Jonathan looked like a man who'd won a prize he wasn't sure he wanted. Damien sat beside her, his knee occasionally brushing hers. Each touch sent electricity through her body. This was dangerous, this feeling, this wanting. When the ceremony ended, guests filed out to the gardens for cocktail hour. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. It would have been romantic if Lily's feet didn't hurt and her anxiety wasn't spiking. Want a drink? Damien asked. Yes, definitely, yes. He flagged down a waiter and got them both champagne. Lily took a long sip, letting the bubbles settle her nerves. So far so good, Damien said. Your ex-fiancé hates me. That means you're doing your job perfectly. They wandered through the gardens, champagne in hand, and for a moment Lily let herself pretend this was real. That she was actually Damien's girlfriend, actually belonged at his side, actually had a right to the way he was looking at her. Tell me something true, Damien said suddenly. Lily blinked. What? We've spent a week learning facts about each other, surface stuff. Tell me something real, something that matters. Lily thought about deflecting, making a joke, keeping her walls up, but the champagne and the sunset and the way he was looking at her made her reckless. I'm scared all the time, she said quietly. Scared that I'll never be enough, that I'll work myself to death and still end up with nothing, that my mom will die before I can give her the life she deserves, that my sister will realize I'm a fraud who can barely keep herself together, let alone anyone else. Damien's expression softened. You're not a fraud, Lily. How do you know? Because frauds don't care about other people. They don't work 3 jobs to pay medical bills. They don't show up every day and do their best even when they're exhausted. You're a lot of things, but a fraud isn't one of them. Tears pricked Lily's eyes. She blinked them back. Your turn. Tell me something true. Damien looked out at the gardens. I'm terrified I'm going to screw up Samuel, that I'm repeating my father's mistakes, working too much, being emotionally unavailable, measuring worth in dollars instead of time. I look at my son and I see myself at that age, desperate for attention I never got. And I'm giving him the same thing. Nothing. You're trying to be better, Lily said. That's more than a lot of fathers do. Is it enough? I don't know, but it's something. They stood in silence, 2 broken people pretending to be whole, and Lily felt something shift between them. Something that had nothing to do with fake relationships and everything to do with seeing each other clearly for the first time. Damien, there you are! A woman in her 60s descended on them, all pearls and judgment. I've been looking everywhere for you. You must introduce me to your companion. Damien's expression shuddered. Mother, this is Lily Carter. Lily, my mother, Eleanor Cross. Eleanor's eyes were cold as she assessed Lily. How do you do? And what is it that you do, dear? The question was designed to expose her. Lily felt it like a knife. I work for Damien, Lily said honestly. Have for 3 years. Eleanor's eyebrows rose. Oh, how progressive. Mother, Damien said, warning in his voice. I'm just surprised, darling. I thought you'd learned your lesson about mixing business with pleasure. She smiled at Lily, sharp as glass. No offense, dear. I'm sure you're perfectly nice, but Damien has a certain position to maintain. People talk. Let them, Damien said flatly. Darling, we'll talk later, Mother. Enjoy the wedding. He steered Lily away before Eleanor could respond. His jaw was clenched so tight Lily could hear his teeth grinding. I'm sorry, he said. She's, like Victoria, Lily finished. Different generation, same attitude. She wasn't always like that. After my father died, something in her just hardened. Now everything's about appearances and status and what the right people think. Must have been tough growing up with that. It was what it was. Damien's voice was carefully neutral. I learned early that love had conditions, that approval had to be earned through achievements, not just by existing. That's not love, Lily said quietly. That's performance. Damien looked at her, really looked at her, and Lily saw something crack in his expression, something vulnerable and raw. Yeah, he said. It is. Dinner was announced, saving them from the heavy moment. They found their assigned table, mercifully not with Eleanor or Victoria, and settled in with 6 strangers who spent the entire meal talking about vacation homes and stock portfolios. Lily picked at her food, which was probably delicious but tasted like cardboard in her anxious mouth. Damien's hand found hers under the table, squeezing gently. You're okay, the gesture said. We're okay. The speeches were predictable. Victoria's father talked about his little girl. Jonathan's best man made jokes that weren't quite funny. Victoria herself gave a speech about finding her soulmate, and Lily saw Damien's expression go carefully blank. Then the dancing started. The band played something slow and romantic, and newlyweds took the floor. Victoria looked radiant, Jonathan looked relieved it was almost over, and Lily felt Damien tense beside her. Want to get some air? She asked. Yes, please. They escaped to a terrace overlooking the gardens. The night air was cool, and stars were starting to appear. Lily could hear the music drifting through the open doors, mixing with laughter and conversation. Thank you, Damien said. For what? For being here. For not running when my mother was awful. For making this bearable. You're paying me $5,000. I'd be a terrible employee if I ran. Is that all this is? Damien asked quietly. A job? Lily's heart stopped. The question hung between them, dangerous and loaded. What else would it be? Damien moved closer. He was backlit by the terrace lights, his expression shadowed, but his eyes clear. I don't know, but it stopped feeling like a transaction somewhere around the third dance practice. Damien, I know this is complicated. I know I'm your boss and this started as a business arrangement, and there are 1,000 reasons this is a terrible idea. But I can't stop thinking about you, Lily. Can't stop noticing the way you bite your lip when you're nervous, or how you always make sure Samuel eats vegetables, or that you remember how I take my coffee even though I never told you. Lily's pulse hammered. You take it black. 2 sugars. See? Things like that. He reached up, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. His fingers lingered on her cheek. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I'm reading this wrong. She should. She should absolutely tell him he was wrong, that this was just a job, that she didn't feel the same way. But she'd never been good at lying to herself. You're not crazy, she whispered. Damien's thumb brushed across her cheekbone. No? No, but this is still a terrible idea. Probably the worst. I'm not like Victoria. I can't give you the life she could. I'm just... Don't. Damien's voice was firm. Don't compare yourself to her. Victoria is all surface, pretty packaging with nothing real inside. But you're genuine. You care about people. You work yourself to exhaustion for your family. You make my son laugh. You make me want to be better. Tears blurred Lily's vision. I'm scared. Me too. What if this ruins everything? What if it doesn't? Inside, the music changed. Something slower, softer. Damien held out his hand. Dance with me, he said. For real this time. Not for Victoria, not for the crowd. Just for us. Lily took his hand. He pulled her close, one hand settling on her waist, the other holding hers gently. They moved together in the starlight, no audience, no pretense. Just 2 people who'd been pretending for so long they'd forgotten what real felt like. Lily rested her head on Damien's shoulder, breathing in his cologne and something underneath that was just him. His hand tightened on her waist, pulling her closer. This dress, he murmured. I can't stop looking at you in this dress. It's just a dress. It's not. It's you. Finally letting yourself be seen. Lily pulled back enough to look at him. I've always been here. You just weren't looking. I know. I'm sorry for that. Don't apologize. Just... She hesitated. Don't stop looking. Not yet. Damien's eyes darkened. His hand came up to cup her face, thumb brushing across her lower lip. Lily, he breathed. Yeah? I'm going to kiss you now, if that's okay. Her heart was a wild thing in her chest. Okay. He kissed her slowly, carefully, like she was something precious that might break. His lips were soft and warm, and Lily felt her knees go weak. She grabbed his shoulders for balance, kissing him back, tasting champagne and want, and something that felt dangerously like hope. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Damien rested his forehead against hers. That was... he started. Real, Lily finished. Yeah, they stood there wrapped in each other, and Lily knew everything had changed. This wasn't a job anymore. Wasn't a transaction. It was something messy and complicated and absolutely terrifying, and she wanted it anyway. We should go back inside, Damien said, though he made no move to let her go. Probably. People will notice we're gone. Let them, Damien smiled, and it was the most genuine smile Lily had ever seen from him. You're trouble, Lily Carter. You have no idea. They kissed again, deeper this time, and Lily stopped thinking about consequences or complications or what would happen when the night ended. For once, she just let herself feel. When they finally returned to the ballroom, hand in hand, Victoria was watching. Her expression was carefully neutral, but Lily saw the anger simmering underneath. Enjoying the wedding? Victoria asked, appearing beside them. Very much, Damien said coolly. Victoria's eyes narrowed. You two seem close. How long did you say you've been together? We didn't, Lily said before Damien could answer. But long enough. Victoria sipped her champagne. It's funny. I asked around about you, Lily. Nobody seems to know who you are. It's like you appeared out of nowhere. Some people don't need to announce their entire life to be worth knowing, Lily said evenly. Victoria's smile was sharp. True. But in our world, connections matter. Family matters. Background matters. She looked at Damien. You know that better than anyone, don't you, darling? Things change, Damien said. People grow. Maybe you should try it sometime. The barb hit home. Victoria's expression froze, then cracked into something ugly. How dare you? Congratulations on your marriage, Victoria. I hope Jonathan knows what he's getting into. Damien guided Lily away, leaving Victoria fuming in their wake. That was harsh, Lily said. She deserved it. Still, she's going to hate me now. She already hated you. At least now she has a reason. They danced. They drank more champagne than was probably wise. They laughed at inside jokes and ignored the stares and whispers. And when the night finally ended, when they climbed back into the car well past midnight, Lily felt like she'd survived something. That was exhausting, she said, kicking off her heels. You were perfect. I was terrified. Couldn't tell. They sat in comfortable silence as the driver navigated back toward the city. Lily's head rested on Damien's shoulder, his arm around her waist. It felt natural. Right. So, Damien said quietly, what happens now? I don't know. This wasn't part of the deal. Deals change. Do they? Damien tilted her chin up, making her look at him. I don't want this to end, Lily. The pretending, yes, but not this. Not us. There is no us. Not really. I'm still your employee. You're still a billionaire. Tomorrow I go back to my apartment and you go back to your mansion and we figure it out, Damien interrupted. Together, if you want to. Lily's throat tightened. She wanted it so badly it scared her. But wanting and having were different things, and she'd learned that lesson too many times to count. I need to think, she said. Okay. And we need to be smart about this. Samuel, your business, my job, there's a lot at stake. I know. The car pulled up to Lily's building. Damien walked her to the door like a gentleman, even though her feet were killing her and she just wanted to collapse. Thank you, she said, for tonight, for everything. Thank you for saying yes, for taking a chance on my ridiculous plan. It wasn't that ridiculous. It was insane. Okay, yeah, it was pretty insane. They stood in the doorway, neither wanting to be the first to leave. Lily, Damien said softly. Yeah? That kiss, on the terrace, that wasn't part of the act. I know. Just wanted to make sure we were clear. We're clear. He kissed her forehead gently. Good night, Lily Carter. Good night, Damien Cross. She watched him walk back to the car, watched it pull away, watched until the taillights disappeared around the corner. Then she went inside, climbed the 3 flights to her apartment, and collapsed on her bed still wearing the emerald dress. Her phone buzzed. A text from Maya. Mom's doing better. Doctor says the new medication is working. How was the wedding? Lily smiled. Complicated. Tell you tomorrow. Another buzz. This time from Damien. Sleep well. Dream of me. She shouldn't respond. Should maintain boundaries. Keep this professional. She texted back anyway. Already am. And as Lily finally fell asleep, still in her Valentino dress, still tasting champagne and Damien's kiss, she knew she was in trouble. The kind of trouble that changed everything. The kind she wasn't sure she wanted to escape. Morning came with a headache and the realization that the emerald dress was now wrinkled beyond repair. Lily peeled herself out of bed around 10, her mouth dry and her mind racing. Last night felt like a fever dream. The wedding, Victoria's venom, Eleanor's judgment, and that kiss. That kiss on the terrace that had turned everything upside down. Her phone showed 3 missed calls from Damien and 2 texts. Good morning. Hope you're not too hungover. Can we talk? No pressure, just when you're ready. Lily stared at the messages for a solid 5 minutes before typing back. Need coffee first. An aspirin. And maybe a lobotomy. The response came immediately. I'll bring all 3. 30 minutes? She should say no. Should take time to think, to process, to figure out what the hell she was doing. But her fingers typed yes before her brain could intervene. 28 minutes later, there was a knock at her door. Damien stood in her hallway holding a coffee carrier and a paper bag that smelled like heaven. He wore jeans and a plain black t-shirt, no designer labels visible, and he looked almost normal, almost like someone who could belong in her world instead of the other way around. "You didn't have to come all the way here," Lily said, stepping aside to let him in. "I wanted to." He glanced around her tiny apartment, the peeling paint, the secondhand furniture, the leak stain on the ceiling she'd been ignoring for months. His expression didn't change, but she saw him taking it all in. "Nice place." "You're a terrible liar." "Okay, it's small and needs work, but it's yours. That counts for something." He handed her a coffee, black, 2 sugars, and she nearly cried at the gesture. He'd remembered. They sat on her threadbare couch, the paper bag between them. Damien had brought croissants, fruit, and something chocolate that Lily couldn't identify but immediately wanted to marry. "So," he said. "So," she echoed. "Last night was a lot." "Yeah." He ran his hand through his hair, and Lily recognized the gesture. Stress, uncertainty. "I meant what I said. On the terrace, in the car. All of it." Lily bit into a croissant to buy herself time. It was perfectly flaky and buttery, and she hated that even his breakfast pastries were better than anything she could afford. "Damien, we need to be realistic here. You're my boss. I work in your house. The power dynamic alone is— I know. I've been thinking about that all night." He shifted to face her fully. "What if you didn't work for me anymore?" Lily's stomach dropped. "You're firing me? What?" "No. I'm saying, what if you worked somewhere else? Did something you actually wanted to do instead of cleaning houses because you need the money? I like cleaning houses." "Lily," she sighed. "Okay, fine, I don't love it, but it pays the bills. Mostly." "What would you do if money wasn't an issue?" Damien asked. "If you could do anything." No one had ever asked her that before. The question sat heavy between them. "I used to paint," Lily said quietly. "Before everything. Before my dad left and my mom got sick and Maya needed help with school. I was pretty good, actually. Had a teacher who said I could get into art school if I wanted." "So why didn't you?" "Because art school costs money and doesn't guarantee a paycheck. I needed steady income, not pipe dreams." Damien was quiet for a moment. "What if I helped you?" "No," Lily cut him off. "Absolutely not. I'm not taking your money, Damien." "It wouldn't be charity. It would be an investment." "In what? A broke woman with a half-finished high school art portfolio from 10 years ago?" "In someone talented who deserves a chance." Lily's throat tightened. "You don't know I'm talented. You've never seen my work." "So show me." She almost said no. Almost told him the paintings were long gone, thrown out or painted over when she needed the canvases for something practical. But that would be a lie. Lily got up and went to her bedroom closet. In the back, behind winter coats and boxes of Maya's old textbooks, was a portfolio case covered in dust. She pulled it out and brought it back to the living room. "I haven't looked at these in years," she said, unzipping the case with shaking hands. Inside were a dozen paintings. Cityscapes in watercolor, abstract pieces in acrylic, a portrait of her mother before the illness had hollowed her out. They were rough, unpolished, the work of someone young and untrained, but genuinely trying. Damien studied each one carefully, not rushing, actually looking. When he finished, he met her eyes. "These are good, Lily. Really good. Don't patronize me." "I'm not. I'm serious. You have an eye for light and composition that can't be taught. With proper training, actual materials, time to develop your skills, you could be exceptional." Lily wanted to believe him, wanted it so badly her chest ached. "Even if that's true, I can't just quit my job and become an artist. That's not how real life works." "What if you didn't have to quit? What if you worked part-time, took some classes, built up a portfolio? I know gallery owners, people who—" "Stop." Lily held up her hand. "Just stop. You're talking about using your connections to give me opportunities I haven't earned. That's not fair to people who've actually worked for it." "You have worked for it. You've just been too busy surviving to focus on it. That's life, Damien. Most people don't get rescued by billionaires who suddenly decide to play fairy godmother." The words came out harsher than she intended. Damien flinched. "That's not what I'm trying to do," he said quietly. "Isn't it? You swoop in, throw money at the problem, make everything better? That's not how relationships work. That's not equal." "I know it's not equal. I have resources you don't. But that doesn't mean I can't help. It's not help if it makes me dependent on you. Lily stood up, pacing her small living room. Don't you see? The second I let you start paying for things, making calls, opening doors, I become another Victoria, another person who's with you for what you can give them. That's completely different. Victoria was with me for status. You're with me because... He stopped. Wait, are you with me? Is that what this is? Lily froze. They hadn't actually defined anything. Last night had been champagne and starlight and a kiss that made her forget her own name, but they hadn't talked about what came next. I don't know what this is, she admitted. Damien stood too, crossing the small space between them. I want it to be something real. We barely know each other. We've been living in the same house for 3 years. You didn't even know my last name 2 weeks ago. And I'm an idiot for that. But I'm trying to do better, trying to be better. Lily looked up at him, at this man who'd somehow become important to her in the span of 14 days, and felt her resolve cracking. What if we're terrible together? She asked. What if this only worked because it was fake, and the second it's real, it all falls apart? Then at least we tried. At least we didn't spend the rest of our lives wondering what if. He had a point. Lily hated that he had a point. If we do this, she said slowly, we do it right. No money, no using your connections for me, no power dynamics. We figure out how to be equals, or we don't do it at all. Damien considered this. You're still going to work for me? For now, until I figure out what comes next. But at work, we're professional. Nothing changes there. That's going to be hard. Life's hard, we'll manage. A smile tugged at Damien's lips. You're stubborn, you know that? I've been told. He reached for her hand, threading their fingers together. Okay, we do it your way, no special treatment. We figure this out like normal people. You've never been normal in your life. Then you'll have to teach me. Lily squeezed his hand, feeling something settle in her chest. This was probably still a terrible idea. The odds were stacked against them in every possible way. But for the first time in years, she wanted to try anyway. I should probably tell you something, she said, before this goes any further. Okay, my life is messy. My mom has chronic heart problems that require medication we can barely afford. My sister's in school but struggling, and I'm pretty sure she's going to drop out to help with bills, even though I keep telling her not to. I live paycheck to paycheck. My car died 6 months ago, and I can't afford to fix it. And sometimes I eat ramen for dinner 3 nights in a row because it's all I have in the house. She watched his face carefully, waiting for the pity or the immediate offer to fix everything. Instead, Damien just nodded. Okay. Okay? Okay. That's your life. I'm not going to judge you for circumstances beyond your control. He paused. But I do want to meet your mom and sister. If this is going to be real, I should know the people who matter to you. Lily's heart did something complicated in her chest. They're going to think you're crazy for being with me. Let them. Maya's going to grill you like a suspect. I can handle it. My mom's going to ask when we're getting married. Damien's smile was soft. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The casual way he said it, like marriage was a possibility, not a joke, made Lily's knees weak. You're really okay with all of this? She asked. The mess and the drama and the fact that I come with a lot of baggage? Lily, I'm a 32-year-old single father with trust issues, a company that demands 80 hours a week, an ex-fiancé who wants me to suffer, and a mother who thinks love is a business transaction. You think I don't have baggage? Put that way, they were both disasters. We're quite a pair, Lily said. We really are. He kissed her then, slow and sweet, and Lily let herself sink into it. Let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, this could work. When they broke apart, Damien's phone was ringing. He glanced at it and grimaced. It's Marcus. I should take it. I need to shower anyway and burn this dress. Don't you dare. That dress is a work of art. It's wrinkled. So, it's still beautiful. He answered his phone while Lily gathered the breakfast things, and she couldn't help smiling at the way he paced while he talked, the way his voice shifted into business mode, confident and commanding. This was going to be complicated, possibly disastrous, probably the stupidest thing she'd ever agreed to. But watching Damien Cross drink mediocre coffee in her terrible apartment and look at her like she was someone worth fighting for, Lily thought maybe it was worth the risk. When he hung up, his expression was apologetic. I have to go. Conference call in an hour. It's Sunday. Billionaires don't get weekends. He kissed her forehead. Dinner tonight? All three of us? You, me, Samuel? That's moving fast. Samuel already loves you. This isn't an introduction, it's just making it official. Lily's stomach fluttered. Okay, but I'm cooking. Your place. My food. Deal. After Damien left, Lily stood in her apartment feeling like the world had tilted sideways. Yesterday, she'd been pretending to be someone's girlfriend for money. Today, she actually was someone's girlfriend. For real. She called Maya. Tell me everything, her sister demanded before Lily even said hello. And don't leave out a single detail, Lily told her. About the wedding, about Victoria, about the kiss and the conversation this morning. When she finished, Maya was silent for a long moment. You're dating a billionaire, Maya said finally. Apparently. Lily, are you insane? Probably. He's going to break your heart. Maybe. And you're doing this anyway? Lily thought about Damien's smile, the way he looked at her paintings like they mattered, how he didn't try to fix everything with money even though he could. Yeah, she said. I am, Maya sighed. Well, at least he's hot. I looked him up. Very hot. Maya. What? I'm just saying if you're going to make terrible life choices, at least make them with someone who looks like that. Despite everything, Lily laughed. How's Mom? Good. The new medication is helping. She's asking about you. Wants to know how the wedding went. Tell her it was interesting. I'm telling her you're dating your boss. Don't you dare. Too late. Already texting her. Lily groaned. Her phone immediately buzzed with a call from her mother. Lillian Rose Carter. You explain yourself right now. Hi, Mom. Don't hi, Mom, me. Maya says you're seeing someone, the man you work for? It's complicated. That's what people say when they know they're making a mistake. Lily sat back down on her couch. Maybe I am, but I'm doing it anyway. Her mother was quiet. Then, is he good to you? Yeah, he is. Does he make you happy? Lily thought about it. She'd spent so long just surviving that happiness felt like a foreign concept. But sitting in Damien's car last night, dancing on the terrace, eating croissants in her terrible apartment this morning, those moments had felt light, easy, like maybe life could be more than just getting through the day. I think he could, she said honestly. Then be careful, baby. But don't be so careful you miss out on something good. After they hung up, Lily spent the afternoon cleaning her apartment and trying not to overthink everything. She pulled out her old art supplies from the closet, dried out paint tubes, brushes with bent bristles, a sketchbook she hadn't touched in years. Maybe Damien was right. Maybe it was time to start painting again. She was sketching when her phone buzzed. A text from Damien. Samuel wants to know what you're making for dinner. What does he like? Anything that's not vegetables. How does he feel about pasta? He's 8. He loves pasta. Then pasta it is. She showed up at the mansion at 6 with grocery bags full of ingredients. Samuel opened the door, grinning wide. Lily, Dad said you're staying for dinner. I'm making dinner, Lily corrected. There's a difference. Are you Dad's girlfriend now, like for real? Lily glanced at Damien, who was standing behind his son trying not to smile. Yeah, she said, for real. Cool. Tyler's going to be so mad. Why would Tyler be mad? Because his dad's girlfriend is mean and you're nice. Samuel ran off before Lily could respond, leaving her alone with Damien in the foyer. That went well, Damien said. He's 8. He doesn't understand how complicated this is. Maybe that's better. Maybe we're the ones making it complicated. Lily kissed him quickly. Let me cook before I overthink this. In the kitchen, she made homemade pasta with marinara sauce while Samuel sat at the counter telling her about school and his friends and a science project involving volcanoes. Damien watched from the doorway, and Lily caught him smiling more than once. This felt domestic, normal, like they were a real family instead of a billionaire, his son, and the woman who cleaned their house. Dinner was chaotic in the best way. Samuel talked nonstop, Damien told terrible dad jokes, and Lily laughed until her sides hurt. They did dishes together afterward. Samuel washing, Lily drying, Damien putting things away, and it felt so natural that Lily almost forgot this wasn't her life. Almost. After Samuel went to bed, Lily and Damien ended up in his study. She curled up in one of his leather chairs while he pretended to work on his laptop. Stop staring at me, she said without looking up from her phone. I'm not staring. You're absolutely staring. Can you blame me? You're in my house, wearing my sweatshirt. You gave me this sweatshirt. Looking like you belong here. It's distracting. Lily set down her phone. I don't belong here, Damien. This is your world, not mine. It could be. No, it couldn't. She stood up, suddenly needing space. This house is beautiful, but it's not me. I don't fit in spaces like this. You fit fine. Do I? Because earlier your mother made it clear she thinks I'm a gold digger, and Victoria implied I'm beneath you, and those people at the wedding couldn't stop staring like I was a zoo animal. Who cares what they think? I do. The words burst out louder than she intended. I care because they're right, Damien. Look at us. Look at this situation. I clean your house. You're worth over $1 billion. How is this supposed to work? Damien closed his laptop and stood. By not caring what other people think. By deciding that what we have matters more than their judgment. Easy for you to say, you're not the one everyone's going to call a social climber. No, I'm just the one they'll say is slumming it, having a midlife crisis, using you to get back at Victoria. He moved closer. People are going to talk, Lily. That's what they do. We can either let it destroy us or we can ignore it and build something real anyway. Lily wanted to believe him, wanted to think love could conquer all the obstacles in their path. But she'd learned the hard way that wanting something didn't make it true. I need time, she said quietly. This is all happening so fast, and I need to think. Damien nodded, though disappointment flickered across his face. Okay, take all the time you need. I should go. Stay, please. We don't have to talk about this anymore. Just stay. So she did. They watched a movie neither of them paid attention to, sitting close but not touching, and Lily felt the weight of everything unsaid pressing down on her chest. When she finally left around midnight, Damien walked her to her car, the loaner he'd insisted she take when he found out hers was dead. Don't overthink this, he said. We're just two people who like each other. Everything else is just noise. I wish it were that simple. It is that simple. We're making it complicated. He kissed her goodnight, soft and sweet, and Lily drove home with her mind spinning. The next week was strange. Lily went back to work like normal, cleaning the mansion and doing laundry and making sure Samuel ate something other than chicken nuggets. But now everything felt charged. Every time she passed Damien in the hallway, every accidental touch, every shared look. They were trying to keep things professional at work, but it was like trying to ignore an elephant in a closet. This is ridiculous, Damien said on Thursday afternoon when they were alone in the kitchen. I can't even look at you without wanting to. He didn't finish the sentence, just pulled her close and kissed her like he'd been dying to all week. We're supposed to be professional, Lily said against his lips. I'm tired of professional. Samuel could walk in. Samuel's at school. The staff are discreet and well paid. Lily laughed despite herself. You're impossible. And you love it. She almost said it. Almost said she loved him. The words were right there, pressing against her teeth, desperate to get out. But it was too soon, too fast, too terrifying. Instead, she kissed him again and tried to memorize the feeling of being this happy. Friday night, Damien took her on their first real date. No weddings, no pretending, just the two of them at a small Italian restaurant in Brooklyn that didn't care who he was. They talked about everything and nothing. He told her about his plans to expand his company into renewable energy. She told him about the painting she'd started, a cityscape at sunset that was probably terrible but felt good to create. I want to see it, Damien said. It's not done. I don't care. It's probably awful. Also don't care. Lily smiled. You're very annoying. And you love it, he said again. This time she didn't deny it. They walked through Brooklyn after dinner, hand in hand, just two people enjoying the cool autumn night. No one recognized Damien. No one stared. They were just normal. I could get used to this, Lily said. Good, because I'm not letting you go. The certainty in his voice should have scared her. Instead, it felt like coming home. When they got back to her apartment, Damien walked her up like always. At her door, he hesitated. Can I come in? He asked. Lily's heart pounded. She knew what he was asking, knew what it meant. Yeah, she said. You can come in. Inside her tiny apartment, with the peeling paint and the secondhand furniture, Damien kissed her like she was precious, like she mattered more than all his billions. And for the first time in her life, Lily let herself believe she deserved it. They woke up tangled together in Lily's small bed. sunlight streaming through curtains that didn't quite close all the way. Damien's arm was draped over her waist, his breath warm against her neck. For a moment, Lily just lay there, afraid to move, afraid to break whatever spell had settled over them during the night. "You're awake," Damien mumbled against her skin. "How do you know?" "Your breathing changed." Lily turned to face him. His hair was messy, his eyes still half closed, and he looked more human than she'd ever seen him. No suit, no walls, just Damien. "Hi," she said softly. "Hi." He smiled. "Any regrets?" "Ask me after coffee." "That bad?" "That necessary." They made breakfast together in her tiny kitchen, bumping into each other constantly because there wasn't room for two people to move around. Damien burned the toast, Lily oversalted the eggs. It was a disaster, and somehow perfect. "I have to tell you something," Damien said as they ate at her small table. Lily's stomach dropped. "That sounds ominous." "It's not bad, just complicated." He set down his fork. "I've been thinking about what you said, about the power dynamic, about not wanting special treatment. And you're right. As long as you work for me, this is going to feel unequal." "Damien, let me finish." "I'm not firing you, but I want to offer you something different. There's a gallery in Chelsea, small but prestigious. The owner, Catherine Walsh, is a friend. She's been looking for someone to help manage the space, handle artists, curate shows. It's part-time, pays decent, and it would give you a chance to be around art again." Lily stared at him. "You're setting up a job interview for me. I'm giving you an option. You don't have to take it. But I made a call, and Catherine's willing to meet with you. What happens after that is entirely up to you and her. I won't say another word about it." "That's still using your connections." "Yes, but I can't unknow people, Lily. I can't pretend I don't have access to opportunities. What I can do is open a door and then step back. You walk through it, or you don't. Your choice." Lily picked at her eggs. Part of her wanted to refuse on principle, but another part, the part that had spent last night sketching until her hand cramped, desperately wanted to say yes. "When's the meeting?" she asked quietly. "Tuesday afternoon, if you want it." "And if I take this job, I stop working for you?" "You'd need to. Can't have you managing a gallery and scrubbing my floors. It doesn't make sense." "I need the money from both jobs to survive, Damien. The gallery is part-time. That's not going to cover my bills." Damien was quiet for a moment. "What if I hired someone else for the house and kept you on salary as a consultant? You could advise on household management remotely, help train the new person. 2 hours a week, same pay you're getting now. That's charity dressed up as a job. It's me refusing to be the reason you can't pursue something you love." His voice was firm. "I'm not trying to control you or buy you, Lily. I'm trying to remove the obstacles I created by being your boss. There's a difference." She wanted to argue, wanted to maintain her pride and independence, but the truth was, she was exhausted from fighting every single battle alone. "Okay," she said finally. "I'll meet with Catherine. But if she doesn't hire me on my own merit, I'm going back to cleaning your house, and we figure out the relationship stuff some other way." "Deal." They finished breakfast in silence, both lost in their own thoughts. Lily couldn't shake the feeling that everything was moving too fast, like she was on a train with no brakes heading toward a destination she couldn't see. "I should get going," Damien said, checking his phone. "Samuel's soccer game is at 11. "You're going to his soccer game?" "I go to all his soccer games." "Since when?" Damien looked sheepish. "Since last week. You were right about me not being present enough, so I'm trying." Lily's heart did something complicated. "That's good. He'll love that." "Want to come?" "Fair warning, his team is terrible, and the other parents are insufferable, but the snacks at halftime are pretty good. I have to see my mom this morning." "Bring her, bring Maya, make it a family thing." The casual way he said it, family thing, made Lily's throat tight. "I don't think my mom's up for sitting on bleachers for an hour." "Then just Maya, or just you later, or nobody." "It's fine." He kissed her forehead. "Text me after your meeting on Tuesday." "If I go?" "You'll go. You're curious now." He was right, and she hated it. After Damien left, Lily got ready to visit her mother. The hospital had released her 2 days ago with strict orders about rest and medication and follow-up appointments they couldn't afford. Maya met her at their mom's apartment, a one-bedroom in Queens that smelled like the medication and the floral air freshener their mother sprayed obsessively. You look different, Maya said immediately. I look the same. No, you look like you got laid. Maya. Their mother appeared in the doorway, thinner than she'd been a month ago, but smiling. What's this about getting laid? Nothing. Maya's being inappropriate. It's about time, their mother said, settling into her worn recliner. You've been wound too tight for years. A little stress relief never hurt anyone. Lily covered her face with her hands. Can we please not have this conversation? Oh, we're having it. Her mother's eyes sparkled with mischief despite her exhaustion. Maya says you're dating a billionaire. A billionaire, Lily. What's he like? Is he good looking? Does he treat you well? He's... Yes, to all of that. But, Maya prompted because she could always hear the unspoken parts. But it's complicated. He's my boss. Was my boss. Maybe still is. I don't know. Lily slumped on the couch. He got me a job interview at an art gallery. That's wonderful, her mother said. Is it? Or is it him using his money and power to control my life? Maya snorted. Lily, he got you an interview, not a guarantee. There's a difference. That's what he said. Then maybe listen to him. Maya sat beside her. Look, I get it. You're scared. You've been burned before. But from what you've told me, this guy actually seems decent. He's not trying to fix you or change you. He's just trying to give you a chance. What if I fail? Then you fail. At least you tried. Their mother reached over and squeezed Lily's hand. Baby, you've been so busy surviving that you forgot how to live. This man, whatever else he is, he's making you remember. That's not a bad thing. Lily spent the rest of the morning with her family, helping her mother organize medications and arguing with Maya about whether she should actually go back to school next semester or take a break. I can defer, Maya said. Work full-time, help with mom's bills? Absolutely not, Lily cut her off. You're 3 semesters from graduating. You're finishing. With what money? I'll figure it out. How? By letting your rich boyfriend pay for everything? The accusation stung because part of Lily had already considered it, had thought about how easy it would be to let Damien write a check, solve all their problems with a signature. No, she said firmly. I'm not using him like that. Then what's the plan? Lily didn't have one. She'd been living crisis to crisis for so long that planning beyond next week felt impossible. The gallery job might help, she said. If I get it. It's not much, but it's something. Maya looked skeptical, but she dropped it. Tuesday came too fast. Lily stood outside the Chelsea Gallery at 2 o'clock, palms sweating, heart racing. The space was small but beautiful. High ceilings, white walls, art that made her chest ache with want. Catherine Walsh was waiting inside. She was maybe 50, with silver hair cut sharp and expensive glasses. She looked like someone who didn't suffer fools. You must be Lily, she said, extending her hand. Damien speaks highly of you. He's biased. Catherine's lips quirked. Honest, I like that. She gestured around the gallery. Tell me what you see. Lily looked. Really looked. The current exhibition was abstract work, all bold colors and aggressive brushstrokes. Interesting, but cold. The pieces didn't talk to each other, just shouted from their individual walls. It's technically accomplished, Lily said carefully, but there's no flow, no conversation between the pieces. It feels like you hung them in the order they arrived instead of creating a narrative. Catherine raised an eyebrow. Most people tell me it's brilliant. Most people probably want you to like them. And you don't? I want you to hire me because I'm good at this, not because I tell you what you want to hear. Catherine studied her for a long moment. Then she smiled. Show me what you do differently. They spent the next hour walking through the gallery. Lily explained how she'd rearranged the pieces, which ones she'd remove entirely, how lighting could change the entire mood. She forgot to be nervous, forgot about Damien's connection, forgot about everything except the art. When they finished, Catherine led her to a small office in the back. The job is 20 hours a week, she said. You'd help with installations, work with artists, handle some of the administrative stuff I hate. Pay is $1,500 every 2 weeks. Not great, but it's what I can afford. Lily did the math quickly. $3,000 a month plus whatever Damien was paying her for the fake consulting job. It still wasn't enough to cover everything, but it was closer than she'd ever been. I'm still building my business knowledge, Lily admitted. I don't have formal training in gallery management. But you understand art. That's harder to teach. Catherine leaned back in her chair. I'll be honest with you. Damien did call me, but I would have hung up on him if I wasn't already looking for help. And I would have ended this interview in 5 minutes if you were incompetent. You're not. You're raw, but you've got good instincts. So I'm hired. If you want it, start Monday. Lily wanted to cry, or laugh, or possibly both. Yes, she said. Yes. Thank you. Walking out of the gallery, Lily felt lighter than she had in years. She called Damien immediately. How'd it go? He asked. I got it. I start Monday. His whoop of joy was so loud she had to pull the phone away from her ear. I knew you would. I told you. You didn't tell me anything. You made a phone call, and then Catherine hired me because I'm good. Those are different things. You're right. I'm sorry. You're good. And you got hired because of it. Thank you for the introduction, for believing I could do this. Always, Damien said softly. That night, they celebrated with Samuel. Pizza and ice cream and a movie the 8-year-old had been begging to watch for weeks. Samuel fell asleep halfway through, sprawled across both of them on the couch. He likes you, Damien said quietly, stroking his son's hair. I like him too. He's a good kid. He asked me yesterday if you were going to be his new mom. Lily's heart stopped. What did you tell him? That it's too soon for that kind of talk, but that I really like you and hope you'll be around for a long time. And what did he say? He said, good, because you make better pasta than I do. Lily laughed softly. High praise from an 8-year-old. They carried Samuel to bed together, and Lily found herself thinking about futures she'd never let herself imagine. Tucking kids into bed, family movie nights, belonging somewhere. Later, alone in Damien's study, he pulled her onto his lap. I'm proud of you, he said, for taking the chance, for going after what you want. I'm terrified. That's how you know it matters. Lily kissed him, slow and deep, trying to pour everything she couldn't say into the gesture. She wasn't ready to say she loved him, wasn't ready for the vulnerability that came with those words, but she was getting there. The next 2 weeks were chaos. Lily quit her position at the mansion officially, though she spent hours training the new housekeeper Damien had hired. A cheerful woman in her 40s named Rosa, who actually knew what she was doing. You're sure about this? Rosa asked during one session, leaving a steady job for part-time gallery work. No, Lily admitted, but I'm doing it anyway. Starting at the gallery was overwhelming. Catherine threw her into the deep end immediately, coordinating with artists, planning the next exhibition, handling the social media that Lily barely understood. But she loved it. Loved being surrounded by creativity, loved the challenge, loved feeling like she was building something instead of just surviving. Damien was supportive, but careful not to overstep. He'd ask about her day, but never offered advice unless she specifically requested it. He came to the gallery once, looked at the art, bought a piece he probably didn't even like, and left without making a scene. You're being weird, Lily told him that night. What do you mean? You're being too careful, too hands-off. It's fine to have opinions about my work. I don't want to be controlling. There's a difference between being controlling and being interested. I want you to care about this. I do care. I just don't want to mess it up. They were both trying so hard not to screw this up that they were creating problems that didn't exist. We need to relax, Lily said. Stop walking on eggshells around each other. How? I don't know. Act normal? What's normal for us? Good question. They'd gone from employer-employee to fake relationship to real relationship so fast they'd never established a baseline. Let's start over, Lily suggested. Pretend we just met. Hi, I'm Lily Carter. I work at an art gallery and have terrible taste in coffee. Damien played along, shaking her extended hand. Damien Cross. I run a company and have a kid who thinks I'm embarrassing. What are you looking for in a relationship? Someone real. Someone who doesn't care about my money. Someone who challenges me. That's a tall order. I'm a demanding person. They dissolved into laughter, and something eased between them. The tension that had been building since they made things official loosened. I love you, Damien said suddenly. Lily froze. What? I love you. I've been trying not to say it because I didn't want to scare you, but I'm tired of pretending. I love the way you argue with me. I love how you care about your family. I love that you took a chance on the gallery even though it terrified you. I love you, Lily Carter. Tears burned in Lily's eyes. She wanted to say it back. The words were right there. but they stuck in her throat, trapped by fear and old wounds and the certainty that saying it out loud would make it real and real things could be taken away. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I need time." Damien's expression flickered with hurt, but he recovered quickly. "It's okay. I'm not going anywhere." "You promise?" "I promise." But Lily saw the doubt in his eyes, the worry that maybe she'd never be able to say it back, that maybe she was still too broken from her past to let herself fully love someone. The next morning, everything fell apart. Lily arrived at the gallery to find Catherine waiting with a newspaper. Not a physical one, those barely existed anymore, but pulled up on her tablet. "Have you seen this?" Catherine asked, her voice tight. The headline made Lily's stomach drop. Billionaire Damien Cross's new girlfriend rags to riches. Romance or calculated move? There was a photo of them from Victoria's wedding. Lily in the emerald dress, Damien's arm around her waist, both of them looking at each other like nothing else existed. The article was brutal. It detailed Lily's background, her jobs, her family's financial struggles, her mother's medical bills. It called her a social climber, implied she was using Damien for his money, quoted anonymous sources saying the relationship was clearly transactional. "I didn't know you used to work for him," Catherine said carefully. "As his housekeeper." "Does it matter?" "It matters if people think I hired you as a favor to your boyfriend instead of on your own merit. You said yourself I earned this job." "I know that, but perception matters in this industry, Lily. If collectors think you're here because of who you're dating instead of what you know, it reflects badly on the gallery." "So what are you saying?" Catherine looked pained. "I'm saying maybe you should take some time off. Let this blow over." "You're suspending me?" "I'm protecting the gallery. And you. This attention, it's not going to be good for either of us." Lily left in a daze. Outside, photographers were waiting. Someone had tipped them off. "Lily, is it true you trapped Damien Cross? How much is he paying you? Are you pregnant?" She pushed through them, got on the subway, and went home. Once inside her apartment, she finally let herself break down. Her phone was ringing constantly. Damien, Maya, numbers she didn't recognize. She ignored all of them. The article had exposed everything she'd been afraid of. Everyone thought she was using Damien, thought she was a gold digger who'd manipulated her way into his life. And maybe they were right. Maybe that's exactly what she was. When Damien finally showed up at her door, he'd clearly bribed her landlord for access. Lily was still in yesterday's clothes, eyes red from crying. "I'm handling it," he said immediately. "My lawyers are going after the publication for invasion of privacy. We'll sue for—" "Stop," Lily said. "Lily, just stop. This is exactly what I was afraid of. This is why I said we shouldn't do this. It's one article by a tabloid. It doesn't mean anything. It means everything. Catherine put me on leave, Damien. The job I just started, the one I was so proud of getting on my own merit, now everyone thinks I only got it because of you." "That's not true." "Doesn't matter. They think it. And they're going to keep thinking it as long as I'm with you." Damien's face paled. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying maybe this was a mistake. Maybe we moved too fast. Maybe—" "Don't." His voice cracked. "Don't do this. Don't let them win. They already won. The second that article published, they won. So we fight back. Together." Lily looked at him, this man who'd become so important to her in such a short time, and felt her heart breaking. "I can't," she whispered. "I can't be the woman everyone thinks I am. I can't live under this microscope. I can't watch people judge everything I do and assume the worst. Then we'll be private. No more public appearances. No more—" "That's not a life, Damien. That's hiding. I don't care as long as I have you." "But I care." The words burst out of her. "I care that people think I'm using you. I care that my family is getting harassed. I care that Samuel might see these articles someday and think his dad picked some gold digger over him. I care about all of it, and I can't just turn that off." Damien stepped back like she'd hit him. "So what? We just give up? Let them destroy what we have?" "We don't have anything," Lily said, even though it killed her. "We have a few good weeks and a lot of complications. Maybe that's all this was ever supposed to be." "You don't mean that. I need you to leave. Lily, please, just go." He stood there for a long moment, and Lily saw everything she felt reflected in his eyes. Love, pain, desperation. But he left. And Lily collapsed on her floor and cried until she couldn't breathe. 3 days passed in silence. Lily didn't leave her apartment except to buy groceries she barely touched. Her phone stayed off. The curtains stayed closed. She existed in a gray space between sleeping and waking, unable to do either properly. Maya let herself in on the 4th day with the spare key Lily had given her years ago. "You look like hell," she said, surveying the scene. Empty coffee cups, tissues everywhere. Lily still in pajamas at 2 in the afternoon. "Thanks. Have you eaten? Not hungry?" Maya went to the kitchen and started making noise. Lily heard the fridge opening, pans clattering, the smell of something cooking that her stomach immediately rejected. "I don't want food," Lily called out. "Too bad. You're eating anyway." 5 minutes later, Maya deposited a plate of scrambled eggs and toast in front of her. Lily stared at it like it was a foreign object. "He's been calling me," Maya said, sitting on the coffee table. "Every day, asking if you're okay." "What do you tell him?" "That you're alive." "That's about all I can confirm." Lily picked at the eggs. They tasted like cardboard, but she forced herself to swallow. "Did I do the right thing?" she asked quietly. "Do you think you did?" "I don't know. Everyone was saying such terrible things about me, about us. Catherine basically fired me. She put you on temporary leave. There's a difference." "Is there?" "Either way, I don't have a job anymore." Maya was quiet for a moment. "Can I be honest with you? Please. I think you're scared. I think you found something good, and the second it got hard, you ran. Just like you always do." Lily's head snapped up. "That's not fair, isn't it? Remember Jake? The guy you dated junior year? You broke up with him the second he mentioned meeting Mom. Remember the art school scholarship? You turned it down before even applying because you were afraid of failing. You've been running from anything that might hurt you for so long that you don't know how to stand still anymore." The words hit like punches. "This is different. The whole world thinks I'm a gold digger." "So? Let them think it. People thought terrible things about Mom when she got pregnant with me at 40. They thought Dad leaving was her fault. They said she was stupid for trying to raise 2 kids alone with a heart condition. Did she care? That's different." "How?" "Because she didn't have a choice. I do." "No, Lily. She had a choice. She could have given up, could have let the judgment break her, but she decided we were worth fighting for." "The question is, do you think Damien's worth fighting for?" Lily's eyes filled with tears. "What if I'm not enough? What if he realizes I'm just some poor girl who doesn't belong in his world? What if you're exactly what he needs? What if you're the one who's not giving yourself enough credit?" Maya stood up and grabbed her purse. "I have to get to work. But you need to figure out what you actually want, Lily, not what you're afraid of. What you want." After she left, Lily sat in the silence of her apartment and finally let herself think. She'd been so focused on all the reasons this wouldn't work that she'd forgotten all the reasons it might. Damien made her laugh, made her feel seen, made her believe she deserved more than just survival. And she'd thrown that away because she was scared. Her phone was still off. She turned it on, watching as message after message loaded. Most were from numbers she didn't recognize, reporters probably. But scattered among them were texts from Damien. "I'm not giving up on you. Take all the time you need. I'll be here. Samuel keeps asking where you are. I don't know what to tell him. I love you." That hasn't changed. The last one was from this morning. "I'm sorry if I pushed too hard. I'm sorry if loving you made everything harder. I'm just sorry." Lily read them through tears. He was apologizing, for loving her, for trying to help, for being exactly the kind of man she'd spent her whole life wishing existed. She was an idiot. Lily got up, finally showered for the first time in days, and put on actual clothes. Then she called Catherine. "Lily," Catherine said, surprise clear in her voice. "How are you?" "I've been better. Listen, I need to know, did you suspend me because you genuinely think I'm not qualified, or because you're afraid of what people will say?" Catherine was silent for a long moment. "Honestly? Please." "I was afraid. The gallery's small. One bad rumor could destroy years of work. I panicked." "I get that. But I earned this job, Catherine. You said so yourself. I'm good at this." "You are. Then let me prove it. Let me come back and show everyone that I'm here because of my work, not because of who I'm dating." "Lily, 1 month. Give me 1 month to prove myself. If the publicity is still a problem after that, I'll leave quietly. No fuss. Catherine sighed. You're sure about this? Completely. Okay. 1 month. But Lily, you better be ready. The scrutiny is going to be intense. I know, I can handle it. After hanging up, Lily felt something shift inside her chest. Fear was still there, but underneath it was something stronger. Determination. She'd spent her whole life letting other people's opinions dictate her choices. Maybe it was time to stop. Next, she called her mother. Baby, I've been so worried, her mother said immediately. Maya said you've been hiding. I was, but I'm done hiding now. That man of yours, he's been calling here too. Left messages. He sounds heartbroken. I know, I messed up, Mom. So fix it. I'm going to try, but first I need to ask you something. How did you do it? After Dad left, when everyone was talking, saying you couldn't make it alone, how did you keep going? Her mother's voice softened. I decided their opinions mattered less than your future, less than Maya's future, less than my own peace of mind. Life's too short to live it for other people, Lily. What if I fail? What if everyone's right and I'm not cut out for his world? Then you fail. But at least you'll fail having tried, having loved, having lived instead of just survived. Lily closed her eyes. I love you, Mom. I love you too. Now go get your man before he does something stupid like marrying someone else. Despite everything, Lily laughed. Finding Damien was harder than she expected. He wasn't at the mansion. Marcus claimed he didn't know where he was, though his tone suggested otherwise. Samuel's school said he'd been picked up early that day. Lily was about to give up when her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Lily Carter? A woman's voice, professional and cold. Yes. This is Eleanor Cross, Damien's mother. Lily's stomach dropped. Mrs. Cross. I'm calling because my son has been utterly unbearable for the past week. He won't eat, barely sleeps, and snaps at everyone who speaks to him. I assume you're responsible. Yes, probably. Good. Then you can fix it. Lily blinked. I'm sorry. What? He's at the house in Connecticut, the old family estate. He goes there when he needs to think. The address is... Eleanor rattled off an address Lily scrambled to write down. If you hurt my son again, we will have problems. But if you're genuinely going to give this a real chance, then I suggest you stop wasting time and go. Why are you helping me? You made it clear you don't think I'm good enough for him. Eleanor was quiet for a moment. I thought Victoria was perfect. Appropriate breeding, correct background, suitable connections. She was everything I thought Damien needed, and she nearly destroyed him. You, Miss Carter, make him happy. That's considerably more valuable than a trust fund. The line went dead. Lily stared at her phone, then at the address. Connecticut was 2 hours away. She didn't have a car. She called Maya. I need to borrow your car. Where are you going? To fix the biggest mistake of my life. Maya didn't ask questions, just said she'd be there in 20 minutes with the keys. The drive to Connecticut took closer to 3 hours in Maya's ancient Honda that made concerning noises every time Lily went above 60. She followed the GPS to an address that led her down a long private road lined with trees just starting to change color. The house at the end was beautiful in a faded way. Old stone, ivy-covered walls, the kind of place that had history built into its bones. Nothing like the modern mansion in Manhattan. This place felt lived in. Loved. Damien's car was in the driveway. Lily sat in Maya's Honda for a full 5 minutes, trying to find the courage to knock. What if he didn't want to see her? What if she'd broken something that couldn't be fixed? The front door opened before she could decide. Damien stood in the doorway, barefoot, wearing jeans and a t-shirt, looking exhausted. His eyes widened when he saw her. Lily? She got out of the car on shaking legs. Hi. What are you doing here? Your mother gave me the address. My mother? He looked genuinely shocked. Eleanor? The very same. Apparently I'm making you unbearable. She's not wrong. Damien stepped out onto the porch but didn't come closer, like he was afraid she might disappear. Why are you here, Lily? Because I'm an idiot. Because I ran when I should have stayed. Because I let fear make my decisions instead of... She took a breath. Instead of love. Damien went very still. What? I love you. The words came out easier than she expected. I love you, Damien Cross. I love how you're trying to be a better father. I love how you remember my coffee order. I love that you look at my terrible paintings like they're masterpieces. I love that you make me want to be brave. And I'm sorry it took me so long to say it. I was scared. Scared of what? Of losing you. Of not being enough. Of everyone being right about me. She moved closer. But I realized something. The only opinion that matters is yours, and Samuel's, and mine. Everyone else? They can think whatever they want. Damien closed the distance between them in 3 long strides and kissed her like she was oxygen and he'd been drowning. Lily kissed him back, tears streaming down her face, hands fisted in his shirt. I love you, he said against her lips. I love you so much it terrifies me. Good. We can be terrified together. He laughed, the sound broken and relieved, and pulled her inside the house. It was quieter than the Manhattan mansion, smaller. There were photos on the walls. Damien as a child, his parents before whatever had made Eleanor so cold, Samuel at various ages. This was my father's house, Damien explained. He left it to me. I come here when the city gets too loud. It's beautiful. It's home. He pulled her down onto an old couch that sagged in the middle. I'm sorry about the article. My lawyers are handling it, but I don't care about the article. Lily, I mean it. Let them write what they want. I know the truth. You know the truth. That's enough. Catherine put you on leave. And I got her to take me back. 1 month to prove myself. I start again Monday. Damien's expression shifted to something like pride. You did that yourself. I did. No connections, no help. Just me fighting for something I want. I'm so proud of you. Yeah, well, I had a good teacher. She curled into his side. I'm still scared, of the attention, of failing, of all of it. Me too. But I'm tired of letting fear win, tired of running from good things because they might hurt. They sat in comfortable silence, wrapped around each other, and Lily felt something settle in her chest. This was right. Messy and complicated and absolutely terrifying, but right. Where's Samuel? She asked. With my mother. She took him for the week, said I needed time to get my head straight. Your mother is full of surprises. You have no idea. Lily stayed in Connecticut that night. They made dinner together. Damien burned the sauce. Lily overcooked the pasta. It was perfect. They talked about everything and nothing, made plans and then abandoned them for different plans, kissed until they forgot why they were upset in the first place. In the morning, they drove back to the city together. Lily had to return Maya's car, and Damien had meetings he couldn't miss. Come to dinner tonight, he said as he dropped her off. You, me, Samuel, family dinner. I'd like that. Yeah? Yeah. Walking into her apartment felt different now, less like a prison and more like a starting point. She had work on Monday, had Damien, had a future that felt possible instead of impossible. Her phone rang. Catherine, I wanted to give you a heads up, Catherine said. There's going to be press at the gallery Monday. I'm doing a statement about artistic merit versus personal relationships. You don't have to be there if you're not ready. I'll be there, Lily said. You're sure? Completely. It's time people saw me for who I actually am. Monday came with a swarm of photographers outside the gallery. Lily walked through them with her head high, ignoring the questions they shouted. Inside, Catherine was waiting with a few carefully selected reporters. Miss Carter, one of them started immediately. Is it true you used your relationship with Damien Cross to get this position? No, Lily said firmly. I interviewed for this job like anyone else. I was hired based on my knowledge of art and my ability to do the work. Who I date in my personal life has nothing to do with my professional qualifications. But surely the connection helped. Damien Cross knows a lot of people. He could have called any of them for me. But Catherine Walsh doesn't hire people as favors. She hired me because I'm good at what I do. If you don't believe that, stick around for the next exhibition. Judge for yourself. The questions continued, but Lily held her ground. She didn't apologize for loving Damien, didn't apologize for being poor, didn't apologize for taking an opportunity when it was offered. By the time the reporters left, she was exhausted, but Catherine was smiling. That was perfect, she said. Professional, confident, didn't take the bait. I'm impressed. Thanks. I think I'm going to throw up now. Do it in the bathroom. We have an artist coming in 20 minutes. The next few weeks were intense. The press attention gradually died down as Lily proved she knew what she was doing. She curated a small exhibition featuring emerging artists that got positive reviews, made connections in the art world that had nothing to do with Damien, built a reputation on her own merit. Damien was supportive but careful not to overstep. He came to gallery events when invited but never made them about him. Bought art he genuinely liked. Introduced her to collectors as Lily Carter, the talented curator, not as his girlfriend. They learned how to balance their relationship with their professional lives. Set boundaries. Had fights about stupid things and made up before bed. Figured out how to be partners instead of rescuer and rescued. Samuel adjusted quickly. He started calling Lily by her first name at school, but would climb into her lap at home for story time. Told his friends she was his dad's girlfriend with obvious pride. Tyler's mom asked if you were nice, Samuel reported one night at dinner. I said, you're the best, way better than Dad's old girlfriend. Samuel, Damien warned. What? It's true. Victoria was mean. Lily's nice. Lily caught Damien's eye across the table and smiled. They'd come a long way from that desperate, fake relationship proposal. 3 months after the article, Lily's exhibition opened to a sold-out crowd. The theme was second chances. Artists who'd started late, overcome obstacles, found success after failure. It was personal. Everyone in the art world knew it. Damien came with Samuel. They stood in the back, letting Lily have her moment. She gave a short speech about resilience, about not letting other people's limitations define you, about the courage it takes to start over. When she finished, the applause was genuine. Afterward, Victoria Harrington appeared. Of course she did. She looked perfect as always, her husband trailing behind her looking vaguely miserable. Lily, Victoria said, her smile sharp. What a charming little exhibition. Thank you. I'm surprised Damien let you work. Most men prefer their women available. Lily smiled. Damien's not most men. And I'm not anyone's woman. I'm my own person who happens to be in a relationship with someone who respects that. Victoria's expression soured. How progressive. It is, actually. Lily spotted Damien approaching. If you'll excuse me, I should get back to my guests. She walked away, feeling lighter than air. What did she want? Damien asked when she reached him. To be petty. I didn't let her. Proud of you. I'm proud of me too. 6 months after that first wedding, Damien took Lily back to the Connecticut house. It was early spring, the trees just starting to bloom, everything fresh and new. They walked through the gardens while Samuel played with a soccer ball on the lawn. I've been thinking, Damien said. Dangerous. About the future. About us. Lily's heart picked up. Okay. I know we said we'd take things slow. No rushing, but slow's never really been my style. Damien, he got down on one knee right there in the garden, pulling out a ring box Lily hadn't seen coming. I'm not asking you to say yes right now, he said quickly. I know that's too much pressure, but I'm asking if you'll think about it. About maybe, someday, making this permanent. Lily stared at the ring. It was beautiful, simple, elegant, nothing ostentatious. Perfect. You're serious. Completely. I love you, Lily. I want to build a life with you. Want to watch you succeed at the gallery and maybe open your own someday. Want more family dinners and arguments about who burned what. Want Samuel to have siblings if you want that. Want everything with you. That's a lot of wants. I'm an ambitious person. Lily looked at him. This man who'd started as her boss, became her fake boyfriend, turned into her real partner. Who'd seen her at her worst and loved her anyway. Who made her believe she deserved more than just survival. Ask me again in a year, she said. Damien's face fell slightly, but he nodded. Okay. But for the record, I'm probably going to say yes. His expression transformed. Yeah? Yeah. I just need time to get used to the idea, to make sure I'm ready. I can wait. You're sure, because I might take longer than a year. Might be 2 years, or 3. Lily Carter, I'd wait a decade for you. She pulled him to his feet and kissed him. You're ridiculous. And you love it. I really do. Samuel ran over, noticed them kissing, and made exaggerated gagging noises. Gross, Dad, you're being gross again. Get used to it, kiddo, Damien said, pulling Lily close. This is going to be happening a lot. Forever? Samuel asked. Lily looked at Damien. Damien looked at her. Yeah, they said together. Forever. A year and a half later, Lily opened her own gallery. It was small, in Brooklyn, focused on emerging artists who needed a chance. Catherine helped her get started, no strings attached, just one curator supporting another. The opening night was packed. Lily's mother was there, healthy enough to attend thanks to the new treatment her insurance finally covered. Maya was there, back in school and thriving. Samuel was there with his soccer team because he'd insisted all his friends needed to see how cool Lily was. And Damien was there, in the background, letting Lily have her spotlight. You did it, he said when they had a quiet moment. Built something entirely your own. I had help. A little, but mostly it was you. Your vision, your work, your courage. Lily squeezed his hand. Ask me again. What? You know what? Understanding dawned in his eyes. He didn't have the ring with him. She knew because she'd watched him get dressed. But he got down on one knee anyway, right there in her gallery surrounded by art and people and possibility. Lily Carter, will you marry me? Yes, she said, pulling him up. Yes, absolutely yes. The crowd erupted in applause. Samuel rushed over, whooping. Maya was crying. Lily's mother was crying. Catherine was trying not to cry and failing. And Lily felt something she hadn't felt in years. Complete. Like all the broken pieces had finally come together into something whole. The wedding was small. Nothing like Victoria's elaborate affair. Just family and close friends in the Connecticut garden. Under trees that had watched Damien grow up. Samuel was the ring bearer and took his job very seriously. Maya was Lily's maid of honor and cried through the entire ceremony. Eleanor surprised everyone by being